A mass murder is the act of murdering 4 or more people during an event with no cooling off period between the murders. A mass murder typically occurs in a single location. Most known mass murderers are male, but there have been several cases of female mass murderers. Just like there is a difference between male and female serial killers, male and female mass murderers are also different. Female mass murderers, just like female serial killers, rarely kill strangers, and most of the time their victims are people they know, like family members. In this episode of Simply Bizarre, we'll take a closer look at 4 female mass murderers. Priscilla Ford was born in 1929, and the first 30 years of her life passed without incident. She worked as a school teacher and was praised for her work. Things changed in 1970 when her family members noticed that her behavior became increasingly bizarre. She started seeing her dead husband and claimed that she had the soul of Adam and Jesus Christ. She later moved to Reno, Nevada, where she was diagnosed with passive-aggressive personality with hysterical episodes. In 1974, she was arrested for trespassing and was sent to a mental health evaluation. Her daughter, aged 11, was taken away by social workers. Priscilla considered her daughter a kidnapping victim and was determined to get her back. In the following years, she was treated at several mental hospitals and was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. During this time, she stayed determined that she will get her daughter back and developed a grudge against the city where she lost her. In November 1980, she returned to Reno and decided to stay there. She wasn't successful at finding her daughter, which enraged her, but nobody expected what she'll do next. On November 27, 1980, she sat into her car, drove on the sidewalk, and began a 5-block Thanksgiving Day rampage. She tried to mow down as many people as possible. This resulted in the death of 7 people, as well as injuring 22 others. She fled the scene, but the police soon tracked her down and arrested her. She said that her goal was to kill as many people as possible, and she had to do what she had to do. She said that on the day of the rampage, she was as happy as she could possibly be, and said that the people she hid were just pigs and beasts. She referred to herself as America's only authorized divinity, and in court she claimed she is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, Adam, and the Holy Spirit, and is because of that incapable of sin. Priscilla constantly changed her story. At one point she claimed that she heard voices, which included voices of public figures, who told her to kill people. Later she claimed she did this to bring attention to her daughter's abduction, and at one point she simply said that it happened because her car had some sort of malfunction. During the trial, it was revealed that Priscilla was told about the whereabouts of her daughter. It was also revealed that she talked about having her daughter artificially inseminated so that she could give birth to another Messiah. Priscilla pleaded not guilty by reasons of insanity, but the jury found her guilty and sentenced her to death. She had numerous appeals and was able to avoid execution until January 2005, when she died after suffering from emphysema. In 1997, Susan Eubanks was 33 years old, unemployed, an alcoholic, as well as a Valium addict. She was divorced twice and had 4 sons with 3 different men. She gave them minimal care, and her oldest son, aged 14, looked after his 3 siblings. Susan also took care of her nephew, aged 5, after her brother died. Instead of looking after her children, Susan preferred to be with her boyfriend, Renee Dodson. This often resulted in conflicts, since Susan got jealous every time she thought that Renee is giving someone else more attention than her. This was also the case on October 26, 1997. Susan left the children alone and went with Renee to a bar. There she got upset because of an argument with another couple and demanded that they go to another bar. She got angry at Renee and accused him of taking the side of another woman while driving to another place. Susan got so upset that she slapped Renee several times. He then decided to drive home. When Susan realized that, she slammed the minivan into its parking gear while they were traveling 30 miles per hour on a freeway off-ramp. She also removed the keys from the ignition, but Renee eventually was able to retrieve them and drive home. When they arrived home, Renee told her that he had enough and he wanted to move out. This enraged Susan even more, so she slapped him, took his keys, blocked his exit from the room, ripped out the telephones, and threatened that she will hurt herself and the children if he leaves her. He didn't take her seriously. Eventually he was able to calm her down and they had sex. After that he told Susan he's going to watch TV, but instead he ran to a nearby gas station and called the police so that he could retrieve his belongings from the house. Susan quickly noticed this and slashed the tires and broke the headlights of his truck. The presence of the police didn't calm her down, and she was accusing Renee that he owed her money and that he raped her. But the thing that drove Susan over the edge was when she saw that her second ex-husband came and decided to pick up Renee and his belongings to drive him to a nearby bar. This was the ultimate insult to Susan, who blamed all the problems in her life on the man who left her. She decided it's time for revenge, and it's time to hurt the man who hurt her by taking away what they love the most. She wrote several notes, each one for a different person. The note for her second husband said, "You betrayed me. You kept a diary, and you and Renee conspired against me. I've lost everyone I've ever loved. Now it's time for you to do the same." She then sent a voicemail to her second husband that simply said, "Say goodbye." After that, she took her 5-shot 38 caliber revolver and shot her oldest son Brandon. After she killed him, she continued with her 3 younger sons in their bedroom by shooting each one in the head execution style. At one point, she had to open the revolver, remove the empty shells and reload it to continue the familicide. When she was done, she went to her bedroom and shot herself in the abdomen. She didn't hurt her nephew. Police soon arrived because they were alerted by her second husband. They came too late to save the boys. At her trial, Susan claimed that she suffered a blackout in which she attempted a murder-suicide. There was a lot of evidence against this, like the notes and the fact that she reloaded a revolver, which would have given her enough time to realize what she is doing and stop. Another evidence was her self-inflicted wound. While she shot her children execution style, she had only shot herself in the abdomen. Prosecutors believed that after killing 4 people, she would know how to kill herself, and they claimed that she shot herself to increase her chances of a lesser charge. In 1999, the jury found her guilty on all 4 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced her to death. She is currently on death row. Nosra was at the age of 23 already married and a mother of 2. In Kuwait, a man can be married to several women, and Nosra's husband, Zayed Zafiri, was planning to get married to his second wife. Nosra didn't like this and felt mistreated by her husband, so she decided to avenge herself. Traditionally, wedding celebrations are segregated along gender lines, and men celebrate separately from women and children. The wedding party for the women and children took place in a wedding tent, which lacked the required safety precautions. Nosra decided to avenge herself there, at the wedding party, and her method was arson. She poured petrol on the outside of the tent and set it on fire. The fire spread quickly, and the entire tent was engulfed in less than 3 minutes. The resultant inferno caused panic, and since there was only one exit, many people couldn't escape. The blaze caused the death of 57 people, as well as injuring 60 more. Most of the bodies were charred beyond recognition, and forensic specialists were required to identify the victims. It was the deadliest civilian disaster in Kuwait in the last 40 years. Zayed's second wife, the target of the inferno, was injured, but she survived. Her sister and mother, however, died. It didn't take long for Nosra to get arrested, because an eyewitness saw her sneaking around the tent shortly before the fire started. At first she admitted that she started the fire and claimed that she only did this to ruin the celebration and her intent wasn't to kill people. In court, however, she pleaded not guilty and denied that she was involved with this incident. She also claimed that she was 2 months pregnant at the date of her arrest and that she was forced to have an abortion in prison. She is the second Kuwaiti woman to be sentenced to death, and the first one where the sentencing wasn't upheld by the Supreme Court. Death sentences in Kuwait are carried out by hanging. Olga Hepnarova was born in 1951 in Prague, Czechoslovakia. She was an average child at first, but as she grew older, she found it hard to communicate with her parents and classmates. At the age of 13, she attempted suicide by swallowing medication and spent a year at a psychiatric hospital. She never got along with her family, especially her father, who beat her when she disobeyed him. She soon moved out and rarely talked to her family members. The rest of her teenage years passed without any recorded incidents. However, in 1970, at the age of 19, she tried to burn down a family estate. At that time, 3 people were in the house: Olga's sister Eva and 2 tenants. She bought petrol and started a fire, but it was discovered before it could spread, and it only caused a minor damage. Police officers couldn't find the perpetrator, and Eva was for some time a suspect. The truth became known only a few years later, when Olga admitted that she tried to burn down the property. She worked in various places, but was usually fired shortly after being hired. She ended up working as a truck driver. With every rejection, her views on society worsened. In her mind, the whole world was her enemy, and at one point she decided that she will get her revenge. She thought of setting bombs, but lacked the needed know-how. Later she thought of starting a shooting. Finally she decided to use a vehicle. She wrote 2 letters, which she posted to 2 newspapers. In them she described her life, her plan, as well as her reasons for doing it. Parts of her letter said the following: "Ladies and gentlemen, it is not just a letter, it is my declaration. I am writing it as I do want you to appreciate what I am going to do. I do not want you to doubt about my sanity. I am going to steal a bus today and run into a crowd of people at full speed. It will happen somewhere in Prague 7. I intend to kill people. I know I will be on trial and punished. I am a loner, a destroyed person, a person destroyed by people. I therefore have a choice, to kill myself or to kill others. I choose to avenge my persecutors. It would be too easy to leave this world as an unknown suicide. Society is too indifferent, rightly so. My verdict is, I, Olga Hepnarova, the victim of your bestiality, sentence you to the death penalty. Due to the slowness of the postal system, the letter did not arrive until 2 days after Olga decided to turn her plan into reality. She didn't steal a bus, like she stated in their letter. She instead rented a truck and drove around the city until she found a place suitable for revenge. It was a small street positioned at the bottom of a steep hill, and there was a tram stop. Olga drove the truck to the top of the hill so that the truck would gain enough speed to cause as much damage as possible. Olga released the brake, but shortly after that realized that there weren't enough people waiting for the tram. So she drove past them and went back to the top of the hill. She then waited until it appeared that enough people were waiting for the tram. On her second try, she didn't stop. She drove the truck at full speed into a group of about 25 people. She killed 8 people and injured 12 more. Olga remained in the truck until her arrest. In court, Olga confirmed that she did this on purpose and that her intention was to kill as many people as possible. She also admitted that she tried to burn a family estate. She showed no regret for her actions. Psychology experts found her fully aware of her actions. Olga herself had a speech during the trial, in which she demanded that society would look for people like her, gather them in a special place, and take care of them to prevent such crimes from happening. At the end of her speech, she demanded a death penalty for herself. On the 6th of April, 1974, she was sentenced to death. Olga told reporters that she was not scared of the death sentence and that she accepted it. The execution took place on the 12th of March, 1975. She was the last woman to be executed in Czechoslovakia. Olga Hepnarova's case is currently being adapted into the film Ya Olga Hepnarova, translated I, Olga Hepnarova, and is planned to be released in the fall of 2015. As seen in these 4 cases, female mass murderers can be just as deadly as their male counterparts. Priscilla Ford's delusions resulted in a massacre. Susan Eubanks executed the only people who cared about her, to punish the man that hurt her. Nosra's actions to revenge herself resulted in the death of over 50 people, and Olga Hepnarova hated society so much that she decided to kill complete strangers. These women had different reasons for their actions, but all of them resulted in tragedy. What are your thoughts on these cases? Leave your comments below. You can also suggest topics for future episodes by either commenting on this video or sending me a tweet. See you soon, and remember, some things in this world are simply bizarre.